Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So these are lots to negotiate on this video today, but we're going to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Paula Dybala. So now I've just been reading recent reports. I read it in the Metro, and they reportedly saying that Manchester United have agreed the personal terms with Paula Dybala. So reportedly we're willing to meet his extortionate salary demands, because we do know that Paul Dybala is demanding around £350,000 a week, which does equate to around £9 or £10 million a year. So these are the wages basically that Paul Dybala is demanding if of course he is to make the move to Manchester United and all that. On his current salary at the moment at Juventus, he's on around £6.5 million a year, which does equate to around £120,000 a week. So reportedly now we've agreed to pay him this extortionate amount. Obviously, this will make him one of the highest paid players at Manchester United, and will also make him one of the highest paid players in the Premier League. Obviously, he's on £120,000 a week at the moment, like I said. So obviously, he's going to get around a £230,000 pay rise. I do believe negotiations are still going on, between Manchester United and Juventus, because obviously, Juventus want this swap deal, between Lukaku and Paul Dybala to go through. But the deal hinges on Paul Dybala, actually, agreeing to move to Manchester United. So I do believe the day today is the day, where we do see, what happens with Dybala, according to the media, because I do believe he's set to hold showdown talks with Maurizio Sarri, of course, regarding his future, and that I think actually Paul Dybala's preference is actually to remain at Juventus, because he was recently saying that he wants to fight his way back into the Juventus side, even though he initially lost his place last season to Cristiano Ronaldo. But we've been tentatively linked with Paula Dybala. No real links have emerged. They have in the last 4 or 5 days, but for large portions of the summer, we've been actually tentatively currently linked to him. But obviously, he hasn't been one of our main priority targets. But I do believe Paul Dybala coming to Manchester United as part of a deal of Lukaku going to Juventus. I think that would be very beneficial, because Dybala's surplus to requirements at Juventus, and you've got Romelu Lukaku now, who was initially lost his place in the Manchester United team. Because looking at our attacking line now, you've got the likes of Daniel James, you've got Martial, you've got Rashford. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference is Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. You've got Mason Greenwood, that's upcoming. He's been assured more playing time this season. He's done well in pre-season. You've got Chona, of course, that's upcoming, and you've got Lingard and that in that attacking line. So obviously, Lukaku is going to find it very hard to currently get in that mix. But I do believe Paul Dybala's agent has obviously been in London. Well, he was in London recently. I think he was actually having secondary talks with Manchester United about the personal terms, and actually reports were saying that Paul Dybala's move to Manchester United now could have hit a stumbling block because of the wages, but reportedly now we have agreed to pay what Dybala is demanding. I also believe that the Juventus sporting director is in Manchester, is being in Manchester, or is still in Manchester, having discussing Paul Dybala's potential move to Manchester United. I also believe that he's in also Manchester as well, having negotiations with Manchester City about Joe Cancelo and all that. So like I said, hopefully we can get this deal over the line. But I would be excited about the prospect of Paul Dybala coming to Manchester United. I think he would dramatically improve us. I put him in the category of the top 10, maybe even the top 20 of one of the best players in the world. These better footballers out there than Dybala, but I do believe he'll have all the attributes to come and succeed at Manchester United. I think he primarily plays as a number 10, so this is where Manchester United will orchestrate on playing him, because we'll think he'll be more effective in that position, but he can also play as a forward. I do believe he's primarily a forward is Paul Dybala. He's in his mid-20s, only 25 years of age, and he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. In large portions of his 4 years with Juventus, though, he has been really good as Dybala. He scored 78 goals in 182 appearances. He enjoyed a difficult season last season, obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, he's found himself service to requirements, but he scored 10 goals last season. But in all competitions, he's made 182 appearances and scored 78 goals in his career. I think he scored 118 goals. Don't forget, he's still under contract with Juventus until 2022. In his 4 years with Juventus, he's won 4 Serie A's and 3 Coppa Italians. So he has won quite a few honours during his time with Juventus, and I think he's been named in the Serie A Team of the Year on 3 occasions, reflecting on his impressive performances and all that. And I think Juventus paid around €40 million for him from Parma back in 2015. But to be fair, his goal scoring pedigree, and that's really good in Italy. And I do believe he can produce the same element of the performances. If he comes to Manchester United, of what he's done in his 4 years with Juventus, there is some element of concerns about Dybala. I've got a bit of concerns about him. maybe, there's still improvements needed in his game, but I do believe if he comes to Manchester United, winners them goals that we do need. And analysing our attacking line, we do need to add a bit more experience in it, because most of our attacking line, all the players, the majority of them are really, really young. You've got Rashford, who's 21, Martial, who's 23, I think. You've got Mason Greenwood, that's 17. You've got Chon, that's really, really young. You've got Lingard, he plays in that attacking line. He's more experienced because he's 27 or is he 28 years of age now. With Lukaku, it's looking like he's going to be currently going. But we do know Sky in Italy, they reported out a couple of days ago saying that Manchester United and Juventus have agreed a swap deal in principle involving Lukaku and Paula Dybala. So everything now basically relies on Paul Dybala. He did initially say has been on his holidays, but he did say he returns to Juventus today, and he's going to hold talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future. So that is the situation with Dybala at the moment. The reports have indicated out saying now that Manchester United have agreed the personal terms, and we are willing to meet what, of course, Paulo Dybala is currently demanding. But basically, with us offloading Lukaku as part of the deal of Dybala coming in anyway, it's going to help us with our wage bill. It's going to free up funds for us, to give, Paul Dybala a significant pay rise. But we do know Dybala's actual preference is to remain, of course, at Juventus. But like I said, only 25 years of age. He will dramatically now improve the squad. I don't think, we'll win the league this season. I'm still sceptical about Manchester United winning the league this season. I don't think we'll win the league in next couple of seasons, but I do believe we're going to have a better season this season. I think probably this season our expectations probably will be at least to finish in that top four, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to exceed them expectations. I do believe we could finish in the top four this season, maybe in the top three, maybe even finish second, but I'm still sceptical about us winning the league. But I think we'll qualify for the Champions League this season. Last season was a huge disappointment because we didn't qualify for the Champions League. Obviously we finished sixth, but I do believe we're going to have such a better season this season. Solskjaer the other week was talking about our ambitions, and he believes we'll be aiming for further up than fourth this season. But analysing it in the last 6 years, we've been very inconsistent. We have been a toxic football club, and obviously looking at it, we failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the past 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson's retirement and all that. But yeah, I'd love Paul Dybala to come to Manchester United, because I would be excited about the prospect of him playing in our attacking line. But anyway, we look so much better now in the attacking third of the pitch, because we've got more pace now. And Dybala comes in, he'll even add more pace to that attacking line, because he's creative, he's got that endless potential. He's also pretty good in the air. I think his work ethic, and that's really, really good. So I do believe Dybala would succeed at Manchester United and all that. But I'm very, very excited about the current prospects of him coming in. But last season we was lacking that pace. This is why I wasn't scoring enough goals. This is why I wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. But as I've been analysing these games in pre-season, we've been absolutely fantastic, and we've got that pace now up front. You've got Daniel James with electrifying pace. He's still a prospect and he needs time to develop, and there's still improvements needed in his game. His crossing that needs to improve, and he needs to improve a bit in the attacking third of the pitch. You've got Marcus Rashford with good pace. You've got Martial and that with good pace. So we do look so much better now in that attacking line. So I can already see the improvements in the squad, because obviously we've done well in pre-season. We've won 5 games out of 5. We've scored 10 goals. Only conceded 1 goal, and the goal we did concede, that was fortuitous. That goal we did concede against Tottenham. So I think the majority of the young players have done really, really well in pre-season. We've got AC Milan coming up on the 3rd of August. That's at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. That's our last game of pre-season, so obviously that's going to give, after that game, it's going to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more of an indication of what team to go with against Chelsea on the opening day of the season. But like I said, there's just a week now remaining in this transfer window, so we've got to hurry things up. But I did initially say I'm confident that Manchester United can get 2 signings, 1 or 2 signings completed this week. Maybe with Bruno Fernandes, he's transferred to Manchester United now, maybe completed next Monday, or maybe straight after the game against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup, because Sporting has been basically said they're willing to play Bruno Fernandes in that Benfica game, and then obviously then after that game, his transfer to Manchester United should be complete. So that game on Sunday is going to be Bruno Fernandes' farewell appearance. But Harry Maguire definitely looks a lot more imminent than Bruno Fernandes, and I'm hopeful we can complete the signing of Harry Maguire this week. So there is still lots to address in the squad. Some people said we don't need to sell players. Maybe we don't. Well, I think we need to sell the problematic players at the football club. Some people said we maybe need to sell players to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad. Some people said maybe need to sell players. But, you know, there has been players that have been relentless, you know, linked to a move where from Manchester United and all that. And I do believe we need to currently sell players. You know, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's held talks with Ed Woodward, or he's set to hold talks with Ed Woodward, you know, about the lack of our lack of business in this transfer market. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's give his overall analysis on this window. And, you know, to be fair to him, you know, he hasn't become infuriated. He said we've got 2 good players on the board, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And he basically said, you know, we need to be patient in this transfer window. But yeah, fair enough, he didn't become infuriated about it, did Solskjaer. And I think, you know, the board have got to get all the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants, because initially the board did assure that, you know, there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. And like I said, if he doesn't get all the players he wants, you can basically say that the board have let him down. But we do know Ed Woodward is working on, you know, getting some deals currently completed. So we're looking to get at least a couple of more players in before this current window, you know, does currently shut. But we have spent £68 million this summer on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, you know, we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. And, you know, Daniel James, I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. You know, Wan-Bissaka, I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. But Solskjaer's priorities now will be to get an experienced centre-half in. He'll also want to add reinforcements in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, because initially the plan is to keep Paul Pogba and bring 2 midfielders in that can actually replace Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini, because obviously, you know, they're both left the football club. And we've been in search for a right winner, but I'm very sceptical about Manchester United now getting a right winner in. So I don't think we're currently going to get a right winner in. But, you know, that midfield is one of the pivotal areas where we've got to strengthen up, because that midfield is just it's not good enough at the moment. You know, you've got the likes of, you know, Pogba, to be fair, you know, he could still remain at the football club. And Paul Pogba, for large portions, you know, for the large portions of his 3 years he's been at Manchester United, you know, since he did return in 2016, you know, he has been inconsistent. But when Paul Pogba's at his best form, you know, he's like one of the best players in the world, or one of the best midfielders in the world. And he's one of the best midfielders in the world, you know, when he's on top form. Is Paul Pogba, and he's like 2 players in one. But we still need to add reinforcements, because you've got the likes of Matic. He's crap in our midfield, and you know he seems to. You know, our midfield looks totally imbalanced. You know, when Matic is playing, because he's too slow, he's too inconsistent. You know, he's too ineffective, and yeah, and he's not good enough to represent Manchester United. You've got Fred. You know, to be fair to Fred, I think he needs to get more chances. Obviously, he has been given the chances throughout pre-season. He's played in the last 3 games. You know, he's come on as a substitute, and he did well towards the back end of last season, did Fred, but I am still very sceptical about Fred. You've got McTominay, you know, we've seen glimpses of how good he is in pre-season, but I think McTominay, you know, still needs to gain a bit more experience, and I do believe McTominay, you know, will get his chance in the Premier League this season. But yeah, you know, our midfield looks very, very poor at the moment, but if we had the likes of Bruno Fernandes in there, Milinkovic-Savic as well, you know, that would be fantastic. But I'm sceptical now anyway of Milinkovic-Savic coming to Manchester United, and I think Milinkovic-Savic to Manchester United anywhere is dependent on, you know, what happens with Paul Pogba. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has given the vast majority of our squad the chance in pre-season. You know, these are a couple of players that haven't made an appearance on tour, such as Lukaku hasn't played on tour. Obviously, you know, Sanchez hasn't, because I think recent reports said Sanchez had sustained an injury whilst he was on Copa America due to with Chile. He sustained some kind of injury. You've got Darmian, that served his 2 requirements to the club. You know, he hasn't made an appearance on pre-season tour. I think the likes of Dimitri Mitchell's been injured. You know, Fosu-Mensah and that's been injured. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, I do believe he'll give everybody the chance in the Premier League this season, more or less. You know, the young players, the fringe players, you know, the experienced players and all that. So that's you know, very, very good indeed. But like I said, I'm really, really excited about the prospect of Paula Dybala, you know, currently coming in. And he's got that proven pedigree, and I think comparing Dybala and Romelu Lukaku, I think Dybala's a much better footballer than Romelu Lukaku, but I'll credit Lukaku in that aspect. You know, his goal scoring pedigree is still absolutely fantastic in the Premier League, but Lukaku now has initially lost his place in the team. Obviously, I think Lukaku's move now to Inter Milan, you know, is basically dead. You know, if Dybala does say no to a move to Manchester United, then possibly, you know, Lukaku could remain at the Manchester United and all that. I was reading reports yesterday, and it basically said that Lukaku has actually not agreed the personal terms with Juventus. I was reading in the Metro. It reported said he's set to earn around €9 million a year, which does equate to just over £8 million in pounds sterling, and I think that equates to around £160,000 a week. And reportedly these performance-related bonuses included. So reportedly he has agreed the personal terms with Juventus. But yeah, so we're willing to pay Dybala reportedly £350,000 a week. But you know, we have got quite a few players on big contracts now. You know, you've got Sanchez, who's the highest player at the football club on £400,000 a week. Potentially potentially rising up to £500,000 a week based on the image rights and the bonuses. You've got Rashford, who signed a new contract a couple of weeks ago. Now he's on 200 grand a week, potentially rising up to 300 grand a week, with bonuses and that included. You've got De Gea, who's agreed a new 6-year contract with Manchester United. His contract hasn't been announced as yet, but it will be announced, I think, after pre-season probably. And he's set to earn around £375,000 a week. You've got Lukaku, who's on over 200 grand a week. You've got Martial, who's on a substantial amount. You've got Paul Pogba, who's on 290 grand a week. So we've got quite a few players there that are on big contracts. But with us offloading Lukaku, like I said, it'll free our wage bill up, and when we can generate free up funds to give Paul Dybala a significant pay rise. But I was reading reports yesterday. It said reportedly we was willing to offer Dybala around over £7.5 million a year. That equates to around £150,000 a week. But reportedly that's too insufficient because Dybala's representatives and Dybala himself are demanding more wages. So reportedly he wants £350,000 a week. So more additional information is definitely going to update about Paula Dybala today. But I'd love him to come to Manchester United as part of a deal of Lukaku going to Juventus. But we do know for large portions of this summer that Lukaku is obviously being linked to move to Inter Milan. But his move to Inter Milan now is obviously not going to happen because obviously Inter Milan have struggled to meet Lukaku's our valuation for Lukaku all summer basically, because we've said we want around 75 or 80 million pounds. Obviously we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Lukaku a couple of years ago from Everton, and we paid 75 million pounds for him, and it was initially the deal was 90 million pounds because there was 15 million add-ons included, and obviously Lukaku is our second most expensive signing. But I do believe we actually overpaid for him. But Solskjaer recently spoke saying we're not intending on overspending on our transfer targets this summer. We're not intending on overspending our transfer tags this summer. And Solskjaer recently spoken about our recruitment policy, because analysing the last couple of windows, and all that, we haven't been consistent enough. We didn't get anyone in January. We didn't get our number one targets last summer. We didn't spend much last summer. We got Fred for just under 50 million. We got Lee Grant in, and we also got Diego Dalot, was it for around 19 or 20 million pounds. But we didn't get our number one targets last summer because back under the Jose Mourinho era, the board weren't backing the signings there that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend it in to the football club. But like I said, Romelu Lukaku, he does want to leave the football club as he has, currently confirmed. He said this to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a couple of weeks ago because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has spoken to the vast majority of our players this summer, and he said he wanted Lukaku to stay at the football club for one more season, but Lukaku's confirmed that he does want to leave Manchester United. But I do believe he was talking about a proposed move to Juventus a while back, and I think me talking on Lukaku's behalf, my actual preference would be Juventus anywhere over Inter Milan, because I think he'd fit Juventus's agenda better than Inter Milan's. I think Juventus would be able to guarantee more success than Inter Milan, and I think Lukaku was excited about the prospect of linking up with Cristiano Ronaldo in the Juventus squad and all that. But yeah, Juventus have only just recently come into the equation. I think they've been in there for him for the last week or just over a week now. But like I said, Antonio Conte of Inter Milan did identify Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, I think now Inter Milan are looking towards Edinson Cavani. I think I read recent reports about that. But Antonio Conte has actually been a long admirer of Lukaku. When he was the manager of Chelsea, he wanted Romelu Lukaku, but obviously he turned down Chelsea and ended up making the move to Manchester United. Inter Milan obviously did say they wanted payments to be structured, to get Romelu Lukaku. They wasn't willing to pay money all in one go. Obviously we turned down a £54 million bid from Inter Milan the other week. Also Inter Milan inquired about getting Lukaku on a 2-year loan with the obligation to buy at the end of the loan, but again Manchester United didn't entertain this offer. But I do believe Inter Milan are under financial fair play restrictions. Inter Milan are obviously trying to get rid of quite a few of their players. Well, they tried to get rid of a few of their players anyway to help them generate funds to me that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. Lukaku's agent, he's held quite a few negotiations with Inter Milan. Also, Lukaku himself has held quite a few negotiations with Federico Pastorella, because I think obviously he went to meet up with Federico Pastorella the other day. He boarded a flight to Belgium and went to meet up with him because obviously Lukaku does want to leave Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, he's been at Manchester United 2 years and I thought he was exceptional in his first season, but he didn't really replicate that in his second second season. But I think Lukaku's become infuriated, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, was it around 6 or 7 months ago, sorry, because, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku has still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United. But now it all basically, depends on Dybala. If Dybala agrees to move to Manchester United, then this swap deal, of course, is going to go through. Swap deals are actually, very rare to the highest level of the game. If you've noticed, I think the last swap deal I knew was actually, back in January 2018, when Sanchez came to Manchester United as part of a deal of obviously, Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. But I hope, if this does go through, I hope, Dybala, doesn't turn into another Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United. Because let's be honest, about Sanchez, since he came in January 2018, he's been really, really inconsistent. He's also had injury problems. So actually, Sanchez has, become injury prone. Obviously, for the majority of the summer, we've been actually trying to get rid of Sanchez, but we found it very difficult to offload him, based on his substantial wages. And I did initially say, that his wages having a really bad effect on the football club. But, Dybala's got a good pedigree. Even Sanchez has got a good pedigree, because he did have 4 good years at Arsenal. He even played under Pep Guardiola's guidance when he was younger at Barcelona. So he did have 3 good years in Spain with Barcelona, but hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. So he has been a huge disappointment. So Sanchez will get his chance this season, and hopefully, there can be improvements in his game. But hopefully, I hope Paula Dybala, doesn't, I hope he doesn't emulate into another Alexis Sanchez, when he does, come to Manchester United and all that. So that is something, I do currently hope. But Sanchez, anyway, doesn't have a future at the football club. He's how old is he? 30, 31 years of age now. And we've got quite a few major players in our team. We've got there's quite a few players here that have been long-serving players at the football club. You've got De Gea, that's been here 8 years. He's going to have, he's going to spend, I think, the next 6 years with Manchester United, because obviously he's agreed a 6-year contract, so that'll mount up to around 14 years. De Gea, he's been a long-serving here. You had Valencia, he left at the end of last season, but he was still long-serving player of the club because he served, 10 years there with Manchester United. You've got Jones and Smalling, they're too inconsistent now, but they've, Smalling's been here 9 years, Jones has been here 8 years, so they've been 2 long-serving players here. Ashley Young, of course, has been here 8 years. But like I said, there's still some players here from the Alex Ferguson era, and like I said, I thought the team was fantastic under Alex Ferguson's generation. But hopefully, this team now, can replicate what the team did under Alex Ferguson, because we did have 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson. Since that point, since Ferguson's retirement, since 2013, we have been very, very inconsistent. We've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, a hell of a lot of money has been spent into the football club. But yeah, we've already sat 3 managers since Alex Ferguson retired, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man, and I do believe he's got all the attributes to get us in that commanding position where we do currently want to be. I do believe he can currently do this, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but I just don't think we'll currently win the league this season. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. He believes he's following a policy anywhere that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. But Solskjaer is looking to build a squad worthy of the club's mystery. But like I said, even though we've been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, we're still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got a fantastic stadium, fantastic fan base, we've got massive revenues as well. So this is why maybe some people, are saying that we're maybe, orchestrating, selling Paul Pogba, right? So if we sell Paul Pogba, say for £150 million, we generate that £150 million and we go get 2 or 3 players for the £150 million, that would be bad business for Manchester United, because we'd only be spending, what we generated from Paul Pogba's departure, and we're not that sort of a football club and all that, we're not a Stoke City and that does stuff like that. But initially, we're not intending on overspending our transfer tags like Solskjaer did basically say. Quite a few people said, look, we should be sensible over our recruitment this summer. But I think definitely players are currently incoming. But like I said, more things will update about Paula Dybala today. I do believe we need to sell Darmian and Rojo. They are 2 players I believe we need to get rid of, because Darmian serves his 2 requirements at the club. You've got Rojo. I know Rojo's been playing in pre-season, but I think he's enjoyed a really difficult time with Manchester United. Mainly with the amount of injuries he has sustained Rojo. So I think we've put around the £20 million valuation on him. No team has come up with an offer as yet. I haven't really read recent reports about Darmian, but I think we are obviously obviously, willing to offload Darmian, because obviously he doesn't even get the chance, Darmian. So basically, it's pointless him, being at Manchester United. I think we're okay on that left-hand side, though, to be fair. The left-hand side's really, really okay, because if you look at last season, the majority of our attack, seem to be coming from that left-hand side. You've got Luke Shaw, who was our double player of the year last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. I think he's had a good career with Manchester United. At one point, he sustained quite a few injuries. I think he had a bad dispute under the Jose Mourinho era, and I think, actually, at one point wasn't the talks of Luke Shaw leaving, but yeah, I'd definitely keep Luke Shaw, because, he has been fantastic for Manchester United. Obviously, on that left-hand side, you got Martial. He primarily plays off the left, does Martial, but, I think he looks better in a central position, in that number 9 does Martial. So I think, the club will actually, orchestrate on putting Martial the club will orchestrate on playing Martial in more of a central position this season, because he's looked more effective in that position throughout pre-season. But you've got Martial and Rashford anywhere, they can both play out wide, they can both play centrally. We've got Daniel James on that left. Well, we've started him on the right hand side a couple of times, Daniel James, because he can play on the right, can Daniel James, but he's supposed to be more effective on the left hand side. I do believe he can also play as an attacking midfielder, but like I said, we're okay on that current left hand side. So basically what we need is a central defender. We need 2 new additions in that midfield, or we may only end up getting 1 midfielder in now, and also we need a right winger, but I don't think Manchester United are going to currently get a right winger in. Yeah. So we'll give you the news in regards to Harry Maguire, as he have been updating you guys on a regular basis. Now, obviously we do know Brendan Rodgers has had his overarching view on the speculation about Harry Maguire, and he's said quite a few things as Brendan Rodgers. He's basically said that Harry Maguire is no closer to leaving Leicester for Manchester United, and he also denied speculation that Manchester United were close to signing Harry Maguire. And I think Leicester know, and Brendan Rodgers knows, that Harry Maguire does want to leave Leicester, because obviously the other week Harry Maguire informed Brendan Rodgers. He also informed his Leicester teammates that he does want to leave Leicester to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level, and he wants to come to Manchester United because obviously he does want to relish that opportunity. And I'm going to be excited about the prospect of Harry Maguire linking up with Lindelof in our back line, because I do believe they'll complement each other fantastically well. And obviously we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified Harry Maguire as his number 1 defensive target. But DiMarzio broke the news earlier on this week, and he did initially say our deal for Harry Maguire is in the final stage. Is in the final stages of coming to an agreement and all that. So this is what basically DiMarzio said, and obviously Brendan Rodgers has reacted to the rumours of what basically DiMarzio said, and basically Brendan Rodgers has dismissed the speculation. Obviously we do know Harry Maguire was absent from training on Monday, so obviously that fueled more speculation than that. And I do believe he recently was back in training earlier on this week was Harry Maguire, but it's looking very imminent anyway. He's going to be our 3rd signing this summer. He's going to be our 3rd signing this summer, so it's going to take our spending up to around 148 million, because we spent 68 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and obviously Harry Maguire is going to cost us in the excess of 80 million pounds, so that's going to take it up to around 148 million pounds. But I do believe Harry Maguire anywhere has become infuriated with Leicester, with their reluctance, to actually sell him to Manchester United, because Leicester are under no financial pressure, to sell Harry Maguire, because deep down, Leicester do know how much of an imperative player that Harry Maguire is. They know how much of an imperative player he is, and basically, Brendan Rodgers is aware that 2 bids have been turned down for him. Obviously, 2 bids have been turned down for him, because obviously, we've back in early July, we had a 70 million pound bid turned down for Harry Maguire. We had a £70 million bid, and that turned down for Harry Maguire. But he does obviously want to come to Manchester United. But now, as I did say to you on my last video, Sky Sports have come out and they've basically said now that Manchester United are willing to pay £80 million for Harry Maguire. So hopefully now we can get this deal over the line. Some reports have said Leicester value Harry Maguire at £90 million, and obviously £90 million is way too extortionate, because maybe for £90 million, maybe just a bit more, you'd be able to probably get Koulibaly with that money. So yeah, £90 million, and he's not even worth £90 million anywhere. For my overarching view is he's not even worth £80 million. We've basically been reluctant to pay more than £70 million for his services, but I think we are willing to pay £80 million for Harry Maguire. So obviously the fee is obviously not going to exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018, because Liverpool paid £75 million for Virgil van Dijk, and you can't put Harry Maguire in Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, because Virgil van Dijk is regarded as the best central defender in the world without a shadow of a doubt. I hate saying that because I'm a Manchester United fan, but obviously you've got to give your honest opinions, and I'm really honest. He is the best central defender in the world, but I still think Harry Maguire anyway will address our current defensive deficiencies. He will address our defensive deficiencies, will Harry Maguire, and yeah, really excited about him coming in. Obviously, it has been Man United and City that have been in for him. Obviously, if you reflect back a couple of 3 weeks ago now, it was looking like he wasn't going to be coming to Manchester United 3 weeks ago, was it? Because it was looking like he was going to be going to Manchester City, because obviously City were orchestrating on paying him around 280 grand a week. City were going to get him for £80 million, but obviously City adopted out of the race initially because City are not willing to pay what Leicester are demanding. Obviously I think City are only willing to pay in the excess of around £65 million. Obviously initially City did identify Harry Maguire as their number one defensive target, to obviously replace Vincent Company. So obviously City have obviously been in there for him, but Ed Woodward does want to get this deal completed. I still believe he remains in discussions with Leicester, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer initially instructed Ed Woodward to get the deal over the line for Harry Maguire, and I think this is actually following the serious knee injury that Eric Bailly had sustained, because we do know that Eric Bailly has sustained a serious knee injury. He had to get stretched. It came off in our win against Tottenham. So obviously Eric Bailly now is a huge doubt for this season. But talking about Eric Bailly, I think he's an imperative player for Manchester United, and I do know how much of an imperative player he is, and in his over 3 years now he's been here. I think in some portions of his 3 years he has done really well, but I think his Manchester United career really has been really affected, with the amount of injuries sustained. Not only with the amount of injuries sustained, obviously with his fallout under managers, but Eric Bailly is a huge doubt for this season. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has instructed now Ed Woodward to get the deal over the line for Harry Maguire. He did initially say we're working on offloading Lukaku anywhere before we do pay the £80 million for Harry Maguire, what Leicester are currently demanding. That was initially in our plans, according to recent reports. But yeah, I do believe now anyway he's going to be coming to Manchester United, and him alongside Lindelof in our backline would just be absolutely fantastic. Because Harry Maguire's defensive abilities are good. Shows that ability to play out from the back. His distribution's good. He's also very good in the air, which is beneficial. He's not very fast, Harry Maguire, but I don't think that's an issue. Maybe some people would say there's some element of concerns about Harry Maguire, and that's the element of concern. He isn't really fast, but like I keep saying, that's not an issue. It's also beneficial for Manchester United because Harry Maguire is also well Premier League proven, and obviously Harry Maguire, he knows he's flourishing and that he's getting better and stuff, and he's not going to want to spend the rest of his career with Leicester. He's not going to want to spend he's not going to want to spend several years with Leicester. Obviously, he's going to want to move on and go to a competitive elite level football club and all that, and he's going to want to be in Champions League football. No, Manchester United can't offer him Champions League football and that, but as long as we're willing to pay what Leicester are demanding, I do believe this deal will get fully completed and all that. And like I said, he's served 2 years with Leicester. I think he has initially made 76 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, the vast majority of those appearances have come in the Premier League. 69 of those have come in the Premier League. He's got 4 years left on his contract with Leicester. I think he signed a 5-year deal last September with Leicester. Leicester only paid £17 million for him from Hull City. So Leicester are going to make him a huge profit on the player. I think obviously Leicester now are looking for a replacement for him. Yeah, so that's basically the latest news about Harry Maguire. But obviously, he said he was absent from training on Monday because allegedly, he had some kind of a sickness bug. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what allegedly said. That's coming from Leicester's perspective on it. They said he had a sickness bug, and they said initially it was nothing to do, with our interest in Harry Maguire. But yeah, I think we are going to now get this deal over the line. But I do believe we was also tracking Harry Maguire when he was a youngster at Sheffield United. We was also in for him, and was also in for him last summer, because initially our priority last summer was to get a central defender in. One of the players Mourinho wanted last summer was Harry Maguire, but I think Leicester said they wanted around £70 million from him last summer. But yeah, it's looking likely he's going to be our third signing this summer. And I think the club may intend on offloading a central defender when Harry Maguire does come in. We may intend on doing that. Like I said, it's got to be Rojo basically, hasn't it? We've got to offload Rojo because he's enjoyed a difficult time at the club. With Bayer, even though he's sustained a serious knee injury, and I think with his career being affected with the injuries he's sustained, I still think he'll stay at Manchester United this season, I should presume. There's some people talking about Alex Tuanzebe. Maybe we should loan him out again for another season, because it might be beneficial for his future. Maybe he may gain, obviously as well, to gain a bit more experience. But he did well on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. But analysing, we have got around 5 or is it 6 central defenders. But Harry Maguire is a better option than all of them. But, Victor Lindelof, he's doing really, really well at Manchester United. And he's flourishing in this Manchester United team, is Lindelof. I've been very, very impressed with Lindelof. I think he's, in his first season, he was a disappointment, didn't really settle in. But I thought in his second season, there was vast improvements in Victor Lindelof's game. So, yeah, very, very impressive. I thought we got him for a reasonable figure. We only paid around 30 or was it £31 million from Benfica. But so I'm excited about Harry Maguire currently coming in, but more things we'll update about this week. The news about Bruno Fernandes, like I did say on my last video and early on in this video, I think his transfer to Manchester United is going to be completed either after Sporting Lisbon's game against Benfica on Sunday, or it will be sometime next week. So Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United is definitely currently going to happen. I was reading reports yesterday, and then they said that we have an agreement in principle with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes, and obviously Bruno Fernandes has already informed his Sporting Lisbon teammates that he's expected to leave Sporting Lisbon this summer. Damasio, he came out about this again. He came out about Bruno Fernandes like he did in regards to Harry Maguire, and he basically said about Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United are closing in on signing Bruno Fernandes. You had British journalists coming out the other week saying that Manchester United haven't been interested for Bruno Fernandes for the entirety of the summer. But obviously, that's a lot of nonsense because we've been in for Bruno Fernandes for the entirety of the summer. I was hearing, nonsense the other day, or was it actually, yesterday? I was hearing nonsense saying now we're only going in for Bruno Fernandes, if we can sell Paul Pogba, but that's not true. That's just on that aspect. That's just basically, the media, justifying their existence, and them stories, what they said, have proven to be cynical because we was actually in for Bruno Fernandes before the even rumours emerged out of the media of Paul Pogba, leaving the football club. So obviously, that's not currently true. Bruno Fernandes to Manchester United, he's not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. It's definitely it's not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. Sporting Lisbon earlier on this week, they basically denied speculation that Manchester United have agreed a deal, that Manchester United have reached an agreement for Bruno Fernandes. So they denied that speculation. Also on Tuesday, it said that we actually made an offer to Sporting Lisbon through Bruno Fernandes' agent and all that. But yeah, his move to Manchester United, of course, is going to happen. I think we're set to get him for around 62 or 63 million pounds, I do believe. Because actually, if you read reports last weekend, they basically said that Man United had agreed a 62 or was it a 63 million pound fee with Sporting Lisbon. It reportedly said a transfer agreement, and we'd reached a transfer agreement, and it reportedly said that Bruno Fernandes was set to fly out to the UK, to have his Manchester United medical ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. I do believe it has been revealed what he will earn at Manchester United. I think he's set to earn around £90,000 a week, which does equate to around €5 million a year, and I think €5 million in pound sterling is around 4.55 million, according I think to the Daily Mirror. So he'll earn around 90 grand. He'll either earn around 90,000 or 100,000 pounds a week. So we are, I think, willing to double his wages. But yeah, we've been in for the entirety of the summer. We've been the favourite to sign Bruno Fernandes anyway for quite some time. But he's primarily an attacking midfielder, and looking at he will dramatically improve Manchester United will Bruno Fernandes. So I am excited about the prospect of him coming in because I think he'll link up with Paul Pogba in our midfield really, really well. Bruno Fernandes can score goals, he can create chances. He can score goals, he can create chances, his tenacity is good, he's also very, very good from set piece, and he's still got a hell of a lot of development in him, only 24 years of age, he's still under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, But you know, Sporting Lisbon's boss, he's had his overarching view on all of this, and you know, he basically said, you know, he's actually aware of the speculation, but he said he doesn't know if Bruno Fernandes will leave. Sorry, he said his future still remains uncertain, but he did say he admitted the Sporting Lisbon boss that it's going to be hard for Sporting Lisbon to find adequate players, and obviously Sporting Lisbon are looking now for a replacement for Bruno Fernandes because obviously you know they've come to accept the fact that Bruno Fernandes, of course, does want to move on. But he did say, analysing the summer, the boss said, you know, clubs have been keen on signing him. You know, mainly Manchester United, but obviously Liverpool and Tottenham have obviously been credited with an interest. We do know Bruno Fernandes' agent has obviously been in the UK quite a few times because he's looking for the best possible deal and that for his client. But you know, Sporting has been initially valued at £70 million, but I think we're going to get him for around £62 or £63 million. Don't forget, at one point we was only willing to pay around £49 or £50 million for his services. But yeah, I'm excited about Bruno Fernandes, you know, coming in. And you know, he'll play on the opening day against Chelsea, and I should presume. I was reading reports the other day saying that, you know, Solskjaer wants to play him in that number 10. We've put quite a few players in that number 10 though. We've played Lingard there, we've played Matter in that number 10. Maybe Dybala will probably play in that number 10, you know, if his move to Manchester United happens anywhere. So, you know, different sort of players, you know, will get the chances, you know, to play in that number 10 role. But yeah, I'm excited, of course, about Bruno Fernandes coming in. But obviously, he's Sporting Lisbon are going to play him on Sunday against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup, and then after that game, his transfer to Manchester United should be completed and all that. So that's very, very good. I thought initially his farewell appearance was actually against Valencia, because Sporting Lisbon did lose 2-1 to Valencia, but as you all know, he went off crying in that game. Obviously, that fueled more speculation. You know, that put his emotional reaction, you know, put Manchester United fans into meltdown. So that just giving indication when he went off crying that he obviously wants to leave Sporting Lisbon, and but yeah, he's still going to be coming to Manchester United, even if it happens next week. You know, he's still going to be coming in, I should presume. So that's very, very good. With Linkford Savage, I don't think he's coming now to Manchester United. So I say he's nearly out of the equation. I said he's moved to Manchester United. He's depending on what happens with Pogba. Out of Bruno Fernandes and Linkford Savage, my preference would be Bruno Fernandes over Linkford Savage, but I would be still excited about the prospects of Linkford Savage coming in, you know, to play alongside Paul Pogba and that. But I don't think he's, you know, currently going to be coming in. So anyway, guys, drop your comments. Well, I think, have I updated you with everything now? Yes, more or less I've updated you with everything. So there's all your latest news, including the latest news about Paula Dybala. So yeah, anyway guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.